Gentlemen, I'm going to introduce you to right now is Mr. Repecki, former Pennsylvania State Trooper, and he brought a bunch of his colleagues here, former New York State Troopers, other law enforcement personnel. You guys are going to have a great experience. Repecki, it's on you, man.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How we feel today? Good. The instructor says it. Is that understood? What they say when they say it. They are looking out for your best interest. Do it with a smile on your face. And it sucks. We are not going to complain about it. Because if you complain about it, the person next to you, they're well aware that it sucks. There's another rule. Throughout the next 2 hours, we are not allowed to put our hands on our hips. Does everybody have their hands on their hips? Yeah! All right, I am now verbally assured that you know what this is, that your hands are on your hips. Now, take them off. That will be the last time for the next 2 hours your hands will touch your hips. Right? Yep.
I know this is pretty quick, but we have another violation with the hands on hip.
All right, these things happen. And it's my fault. My fault. Because as the leader, I did not explain it properly. Right? So I thought everyone understood. I was assured everyone understood, but yet it happened. So it's my fault as the leader. All right, lean and rest position. Move! Now we're going to hold this position. In this position. I can relax in this position. I can think about things in this position. Remember, in this position, we are not going to tell our neighbor how much this position sucks. We are going to give them encouragement. You clearly understood what type of response and how loud of a response I wanted, but yet you failed to make that response. So the reason that you're in this position in life right now is because you didn't do what I asked. Understood? Yeah. Stand up. Now, coaches, check the smiles. Wow, now we're waking up. Now I'm excited. That's better. Now I'm happy. I'm going to explain it again because obviously this is my fault. I cannot get this right. No matter how detailed I am, I have to be doing something wrong. Because I know no one is intentionally doing this. No one intentionally is going to say, they said do this, so let me do this. Huddle up. Huddle up. All right, you guys feel better? You got water?
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to ask you a very important question that I need to know to be able to continue to move this forward. All right, did everybody in your row have water? Yes.
Not everyone individually.
Perfect. That's what I want honestly. Okay.
I did not see everybody, but I saw most of them.
Okay.
Not everybody in my group, but I saw everyone here take water.
Okay.
Everybody can drink water.
All right. And here's the reason I asked that. If we're going into a mission, and it's going to be a long, hot mission, I got to count on my leaders to make certain when I say everybody drink water that you guys actually saw them drink water. Because I'm going to send them into a shipstorm for a couple hours without any water. So I'm really dependent on you guys. So we're going to do this drill again. And the way a leader operates is a leader watches that person or that team eat and drink first, and then they eat or drink. They do that for a few reasons. Number one, because then you can report upward that it actually happened, and you have no doubt in your mind. Like, I'm straight up fucking honest here. Like, this happened. But more importantly, the second thing is, it shows your team that you care more about them than yourself. And they will then go through a wall for you. You know what I mean? It just makes perfect sense. This way, even if you're calling them in for something like, listen, I need some overtime cover. Do you mind coming in? Man, if we're taking care of them first, they're going to be like, all right, I'm getting out of bed now. Just give me a half hour, I'll be there. You know what I mean? Just that's the way that works. A good coach will lead it. I was very detailed in how I explained it. I communicated. I demonstrated. I got positive feedback that I knew that you knew that you understood me and understand what the drill was. Now here, Ethan learned to ask questions of his group, lost the ego, said, hey guys, help, I might be the leader, but man, we're a team. As a leader, the only thing that happens to you is that you get yelled at by the boss and the team doesn't. That's why you make more money. It's really, that's the bottom line of being a leader, to protect your team, to make sure they drink and eat before you do. You take care of them better than you take care of yourself. It's taking that call at 2 in the morning and leaving your wife and kids because your team matters. It's also asking the boss to help explain, how do I make this happen if you've never done it before? Everybody's inexperienced. Just because you got promoted to a position does not mean you know that position. Hell, I faked my way up. I didn't know what I was doing when I got the job. I learned it as I went because I had mentors and I asked questions. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
If you're on a subway, if you're in a car and you see something happening, you got to stop. You got to have empathy. It should not take that long. You're a team.
Yes, sir.
Like, what are you going to do in a supermarket if you see a mom whooping on a 2-year-old? Are you going to say, the 2-year-old deserves it? Or are you going to have a spine and say, whoa, what are you doing? Like, we all want to talk about that shit on social media, but when it really happens, you got to act. You got to act. You got to have empathy in life. Just think about that. Now, I know this concept might be foreign in this day and age. But as a team, as a family, as a classroom, you all have to work together to have everybody's back. One of the biggest things a really good leader knows how to do is be a bad guy and a good guy. And as a leader, I always put the good guy hat on when a team member of mine messed up, when it was an unintentional misstep, a head bump. And I'd have their back. And my boss would call and say, I heard so-and-so did this. No, boss, never happened, I got this. You see, he trusted me enough to know that I'm going to handle the situation. But if it is a malicious, intentional act, that's when you put the bad hat on. So now, every class that I have done for the last 12 years here and everywhere else that I do this program, I make them hold it for 5 minutes at the end. 5 minutes of uninterrupted lean and rest. There's some people that are saying that's going to be hard, it's 5 minutes. And I always tell people this. About 15 years ago, I went to a program, I did it for 47 minutes. 5 minutes is nothing. It's controlling your mind. That's all that this is. Your body will do it, your mind will say that it's hard. So remember in the beginning I said no complaining. If the person next to you starts saying this sucks, this hurts, I know it does. I know it does. But you saying that just reminds me. I don't need to hear that. Tell me a corny joke. Do something to make me laugh because we are going to get through this. It's just a matter of how miserable it is while we're doing it. Does that make sense? Control your mind. So let's focus on a positive mindset. The body can do more than the mind allows. And let's get through the next 5 minutes.
Don't tell yourself you can't.
have to start over. All right, great job. All right, listen up. There's a common theme of everybody that just spoke with you. Life's going to punch you in the face. Get ready for it. That's what life is about. I forget who said it. I think it might have been Dawn. It's your reaction to what occurs that's going to determine the outcome. It's your reaction to what occurs that's going to determine the outcome. And in 2021, the beginning of 21, I lost the ability to walk. I actually came here, and this is all verifiable. As a matter of fact, he was part of my physical therapy team. He was the PTA at the time, after my second surgery in May of that year. Literally couldn't walk. It was an injury that I sustained years ago in training. Fell off a rappel tower about 35 feet, fractured my back in 2 spots and never knew. One was the thoracic and one was the lumbar. So the way it healed is that the arthritis went inside the spinal canal and actually choked off my spinal cord. I did not have a chance to walk. And I'm telling you this, not because I'm bragging. I cried a lot. I suffered a lot. I was depressed because my whole life I depended on my body. But a common theme with everybody here is fitness. And how you react to something is going to determine the outcome. When they said do 1,000 of these, I did like 5,000. Rich could verify this. The physical therapist would give me my program for that day, and I would be on a machine. And it was 3 sets of 10 was the standard that I was supposed to do. And then on the 3rd set, I would tell Rich, turn around and look away, because you're going to get in trouble if you let me do this. And he would turn around, walk away, and I would do like 50 reps. Like I was always doing more. So it wasn't what I was going through, it was my reaction to what I was going through. If I had to be in a wheelchair and I knew that I did 100%, I'd be the happiest guy in the world in a wheelchair. That's just my fate. And that's how I want you all to approach life. Life is short. We're all going to die. I hate to tell you that. But every morning when I wake up, the first thing I think of is, today may be the day that I die. Because it literally can happen, right? I could be in an accident on the way home. And I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is if I'm not given 100% today. If I could have given one more thing and I didn't, and then I die, then shame on me. But it was because I was in such shape before. I had that mind-muscle connection. This is the way that the therapist explained it to me. I have a 3-inch lesion in my spine in the thoracic region. The signal from the brain is going to the legs, but there's that 3 inches where the spinal cord is dead. So the brain shoots this signal, and that signal will just go here instead of hitting the good part of the nerve that's left down here. I said, well, how do I get it to go around that and hit the good part? She said, luck. So what do you mean luck? She said, if you do 1,000 repetitions, it might come closer. One time it's going to hit it, but then the brain's going to realize, let's not send it off this far. Let's send it a little bit closer. So I literally said to her, you mean if I do 1,000,000 reps, the chances are greater? She said, yes. That's all I had to hear. Now I still can't feel my legs really good. It's pretty cool because I can step on something and it doesn't bother me. I can walk bare feet across macadam. I'm good. So you got to look at the positives. But what I'm saying is, I overcame that, not because I'm stronger than anybody, not because I'm more mentally tough than anybody, but because my body was prepared for the fight, and I determined what I was going to do about it. It's really that simple. You can go to these motivational talks, you can listen to everybody, but unless you apply it, it's not going to work in your daily life. That's a drastic example that I'm sharing because if something happens in your home life, if something happens in school, you may look at this as a permanent situation, but it's not. It's how you react to that situation that's going to determine the outcome. And just like I said before at the beginning of this, the choices that we make determine what's going to happen. Someone put their hands on the hips, we ended up in the lean and rest. It was a clear rule. Don't put your hands on your hips, we're going to end up in the lean and rest. We ended up in the lean and rest. It was a choice that was made. Right? I mean, but I didn't do it, but you were in the class where it occurred. You were in that position to allow it to happen. So when something happens, just fight through. It's not what happens, it's your reaction to it. And I'm telling you, your mind stops everything. In the beginning of this session, 30 to 40 seconds max in the lean and rest. You did 5 unbroken minutes. It's not because you got stronger. You were actually weaker 90 minutes later because you were down on hydration, your muscles were tired, you were sore. Your body was physically and biologically weaker than it was 90 minutes ago, but yet you did 5 minutes, right? So you didn't get stronger, you didn't grow muscle. What changed was your mind. So just keep that going into your future. I'm very proud of what you guys did. You guys were a phenomenal class.